Hi, Rob Saik here with another episode of Agri-Treks, Saik's Agri-Treks, and this time I didn't go too far away. You know, sometimes we travel all over the world to learn things about agriculture, and sometimes it's literally in your backyard. And I'd like to introduce you to Dr. Ieuan Evans. Dr. Ieuan Evans is a senior coach with Agri-Trend. Ieuan, where are we right now?
We're standing just at the entrance of my acreage, 4.5 acres, and I grow anything and everything that'll stand 40 below here.
Really?
Yeah.
And so what do we got here right behind you? You're just pointing out some stuff here.
Oh, well, we've got some, various plants in here that, like these are Clinopodiaceae, pretty plants in the summer, and zinnias and things. And then we got some small dwarf sunflowers. And because of the dry summer here, a lot of these plants suffered badly here. This is sandy soil, but the sunflowers didn't.
So your impression is sunflowers have pretty good water scavenging capacity.
Sunflowers have fantastic water scavenging capacity. If you're in a drought or dry situation, grow sunflowers. They seem to be able to tap the ground down to 10 feet or more. Even though this is compacted sand with tough layers, they never wilted. This wilting effect is a frost. They've had 5 degrees of frost and they've been injured. But up until then, they were fine and nice and beautiful looking.
Well, here we are. This is going to be great. So we're going to take you through the eclectic acreage of Dr. Ieuan Evans and the eclectic mind of Ieuan Evans. We're going to learn a lot here from this wonderful horticultural and agricultural genius. So stay with us as we look through Ieuan's world. So Dr. Evans, what are we looking at here? What is this pot? And you say this is kind of a new thing.
Well, we're growing apples in Alberta. And we're not growing apples in BC. It's cold, and we get crop injury. We get injury.
Shut up! It's cold in Alberta, really?
Sometimes. But what happens is the growing point should be below ground, and in order to put the growing point below ground, I take pots, large 5-gallon pots, and I take the bottom out.
Bottom's out. And
the growing point is at the base of the pot. The pot is a few inches above ground. And what happens is mice can't get at the plant under the snow in the winter because the pot protects the plant. The growing point's at the base. No matter how many times this plant gets injured, it's multiple stemmed, as they have in BC now with the small apple trees, and you'll get apples every year. No matter how many times it's injured, it'll come back and produce apples. Instead of what usually happens is grafted high, mice damage the base, kill the tree, the graft dies, all kinds of problems. This is how you grow apples in a cold climate.
Have you patented this yet? You should. So this is the Ieuan Evans, Dr. Ieuan Evans, patented apple growing process. There it is.
There's a tree up there. It's Sweet 16. It's a Minnesota tree. It is buried down. The growing point is below ground, and it's been knocked back 2 or 3 times, but it comes back and produces first-class apples instead of crab trees.
There you go, folks. This is how to grow apples in Alberta. Courtesy Dr. Ieuan Evans.
There's better ones up there, actually. Better than apples are up there. The climate here, you think, we're out in the country where you've got trees around. Well, this is essentially a zone 2. In other words, zone 3 even, I would doubt that. But zone 3 in some of the areas, the hilly areas or the more open areas, and as you go further south, it's a zone 3. But or further east. But here it's kind of a zone 2 because things will kill. It gets pretty cold. I've seen it as 50 below here.
What about the city of Edmonton?
The city of Edmonton would be a zone 4 because you're inside the city and you're inside the heat zone of the city, and things will grow in there that wouldn't normally grow out here because of the milder winters. And the big thing is the big thing that defines the zone here is the cold temperatures in May. If you're facing south in May and it drops to minus 17 out here, it'll be minus 8 in the city. So it'll create a lot more damage. The big damage is the cold in May, not the cold actually in November, December. And you get real trouble then when you get this sort of warm spring, warm April, cold May. That kills a lot.
Ieuan, why do you have canola growing? It's like October here.
Well, if you have chickens, free-range chickens, you don't need grass, you need canola. Plant canola at several succession plantings and let it grow, and the chickens will eat it until freeze up in November.
So this is your free-range chicken feed. And it has good oil in it and protein.
Fantastic. In other words, the chickens love it. Of course, they eat other things than the rest of the free range, but the canola provides them continuous food. They even refuse wheat and barley right now because they prefer eating canola leaves.
Really? So, Ieuan, what does your free-range chickens look like in January?
No, they're inside. Yeah, they're inside in January. This garden is very dry. It's a sandhill, essentially. This is called a sandhills area. See the vegetables, the cabbage, the cauliflower, broccoli up there?
Yep.
And a huge crop. That's kale right now. That was covered with the vegetable cloth, the white cloth. Fantastic.
Does that keep the flies away?
Keeps the butterflies away and the root maggots away. Normally, root maggots are so bad here, they would take those plants out. But by putting cloth over them, in May, June and July, they come beautiful, early, tender. You wouldn't believe the broccoli, cauliflower, cabbage that I've had from that one patch.
So we've had some killing frosts and they're still fine?
Oh, cabbage will stand quite a bit of frost actually.
Yep. But
it's just the fact that it was grown on a dry spot. You see that cloth, that floating cloth as they call it, saves, the floating cloth conserves moisture, conserves heat, and they grow beautifully under it. I was amazed, I first saw this with a hut right colony. It looked so good, I copied it for a change.
And Ieuan, what are these?
Shetland sheep.
Shetland sheep, and his Ieuan's dog, and Shetland sheep, and you know what? They don't look too bad.
They have one characteristic: they don't jump fences.
They don't.
No matter how low the fences are, they respect fences. They don't jump them.
So what do you do with these sheep?
And they keep all the vegetation around the pond down.
There you
see,
go.
instead of having grass and weeds and trees, which are difficult to mow, I've fallen in the pond several times with a mower and tractors. The sheep now do the job. They keep everything trimmed, cut for a few $100s of hay a year.
so there it is, and you have something to look at, and they're kind of friendly. Look,
if you need any wool,
do you do anything with the wool?
Yeah, I got lots of wool. If anybody needs any wool,
When do you shear them?
I get a guy to come around in May, and he shears them in May.
All right on.
It doesn't go to waste. Get over here. Come on, get over. See? He like being batted on the head. He's a good boy.